Douglas Ducote, an American patriot by the grace of God, do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America from enemies foreign and especially domestic. I, Douglas Ducote, an American patriot by the grace of God, do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America from enemies foreign and especially domestic. Say it with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, American patriots, and welcome to another edition of the Douglas Ducote Show. Got a minute place you could be tonight. Chose to be here with me, and for that, I am forever grateful. I don't have a clue why the opening of the show was stuttering and sputtering like it was, but for some reason, it did not kick off the way it was supposed to. My apologies to that. Before we get into tonight's show, I would like to share something with you really quick and say thank you all for the wonderful thoughts and prayers for Sir Peanut. He is doing a whole lot better. And say hello. That's okay. It's all right. Everybody wants to see you real quick. He's going to be 19 in a few months. And we've had a tough time with him here recently as he's getting older, but he's doing really well. We had to take him to the hospital a couple nights ago, and but he's recovering well, and hopefully he will be around with us for many more years, or at least that's what I ask God for. Okay, before we get into a lot of things that are happening tonight, I want to start with some breaking news. And also, there's a lot of stories to cover, more so than I thought we were going to cover tonight, because every time I turn around, it seems like something else is breaking. But we're going to start with what you made happen. You, as in we the people. I mention it on my show here several times. Other conservatives and Republicans have mentioned it, and I asked you to reach out to your members of Congress, especially those that were holding up this from happening, and you did, and therefore now it is reality. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas has been impeached by the House of Representatives. There are a lot of members of the Border Patrol that are very happy tonight. Cabinet Secretary has not been impeached by the U.S. Congress since 1876. The office of Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said Mayorkas' impeachment trial will begin later this month. The House impeachment managers will present the articles of impeachment to the Senate following the state work period, Schumer's office said in a statement. Senators will be sworn in as jurors in the trial the next day. Senate President Pro Temp Patty Murray will preside. Tuesday evening's vote marked House Republicans' second attempt at impeaching Mayorkas. GOP lawmakers targeted the Biden official over the ongoing migrant crisis at the U.S. border, accusing him of deliberately flaunting existing immigration law and worsening the situation. The 214 to 213 vote, it was very close, was also expected to be tight, but Mayorkas narrowly escaped impeachment last week when every single House Democrat showed up to shield him, including Representative Al Green, Democrat of Texas, who temporarily left the hospital where he was recovering from a surgery just to cast his vote in support of this Homeland Security Secretary that doesn't care about Homeland Security. 3 Republicans also voted down the effort. Representative Mike Gallagher of Wisconsin, Ken Buck of Colorado, Tom McCormick of California. So folks, you know who, if you're in Colorado, or if you're in Wisconsin, if you're in Colorado, please vote them out. They don't care about you. They don't care about securing our border. They don't care about the fentanyl. They don't care about the sex trafficking. They don't care about the MS-13 gang members. They don't care about the illegals that are killing Americans. Mike Johnson, the speaker, dismissed any concerns about the comments that were made to reporters shortly thereafter by Democrats. Mayorkas is an exceptional case in U.S. history, Johnson said, accusing him of having done more damage to the country than any cabinet secretary has ever done. But he also addressed the very likely scenario that the impeachment would go nowhere in the Democrat-held Senate. And sadly, I'm going to tell you that as well. It's not going to pass the Senate. So the House did vote to impeach today. The Senate's not going to. Guarantee you they will cover for this no good son of a bitch. They impeached him for refusing to comply with federal immigration laws and for having violated public trust. And that is just a stigma of what this guy is guilty of. He's something else. Well, you know, if you've been watching him, you know what he's done. You know what he's been accused of doing. You've heard him. You've seen him testify in front of Congress many, many times. He is a snake oil salesman, to put it lightly. A Democrat congressman raised some eyebrows online Sunday when he took a shot at the Super Bowl crowd in Las Vegas. You know, there are some things that you just couldn't make up if you tried, folks, and this happens to be one of them right there. He's upset because the fans did not stand during the singing of Lift Every Voice and Sing, calling it not a very pretty picture, known as the Black National Anthem. It's sung by Grammy winner Andra Day. Performed the song as part of the pregame festivities for the Super Bowl between Kansas City and San Francisco. Very, very few people stood for Lift Every Voice and Sing, Representative Steve Cohen, Democrat, Tennessee, wrote on X. The Negro National Anthem, not a pretty picture of Super Bowl crowd. Cohen represents a majority black district in Western Tennessee. Cohen tweet drew online attention. The Democrat responded to the critics in the moment. I tweeted to him myself, FYI, there's only one national anthem in America, you race-baiting bigot. Someone else tweeted, we should only stand for one national anthem, the Star-Spangled Banner. But Cohen wrote back and said, I stand for both. And in Memphis, most do. Another told the American National Anthem by Francis Scott Key doesn't see color. Dems have been the front line in dividing this country with race wars. Well, I honor our national anthem and respect it as representing our country in our pride in it, Cohen replied. However, if you look at the history of some of the verbiage, it does relate to slavery and not in a questioning manner. Cohen replied to others who made crude remarks on his X account as well. The decision to perform the song at this year's Super Bowl stirred debate on social media, although it's been an annual occurrence at the big game since the 2020 season and the league's renewed emphasis on racial justice causes. Critics have said the nation has only one true national anthem and serves only to divide further race-wise if we continue to do this. Representative Matt Gaetz, representative of Florida, wrote on X about a conversation he had with his wife about why they weren't going to watch the Super Bowl. They're disrespecting America's national anthem by playing something called the Black National Anthem, he wrote. 1619 Project founder Nicole Hannah-Jones hit back at critics last month by saying the white national anthem is already played. It was written by a racist enslaver who believed black people were inferior and fought abolished in the courts, she wrote of the Star-Spangled Banner. The NAACP first began promoting Lift Every Voice and Sing as the country's Black national anthem way back in 1917, although many of you have never even heard of it until recently, to include myself. Written as a plea for liberty by James Wilton Johnson, was also a civil rights rally call in the 1950s and 1960s, according to the organization. Representative Steve Cohen also tweeted in February 1960, activists catalyzed the entire civil rights movement when they helped put up a whites-only lunch counter. There's no American history without hashtag Black History, he wrote. We owe a debt to those who fought for freedom then and who do so today, hashtag Black History Month. To which I tweeted, speaking of Black history, it's your party that had the white-only everything. It's your party that founded the KKK. It's your party that tried to keep segregation. It's your party that voted against freeing the black slaves. You must be proud to belong to the racist party. What a fool you are. In addition, country music musician Reba McEntire sang the country's national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner, and performed America the Beautiful before the Super Bowl. I did not watch the Super Bowl because going back to when Colin Kaepernick started taking a knee and disrespecting our national anthem and our military troops and everybody that's ever served under the flag, I gave up on it. If the NFL was not going to punish them for doing this and they were going to allow it to continue, I, as an American citizen, have the right to not watch their crap. And I haven't watched a football game since then, nor will I ever again. The University of California, San Francisco recently hosted a speaker who suggested whites were psychotic as part of Black History Month event. On Thursday, author Dent King delivered a lecture titled Diagnosing Whiteness and Anti-Blackness, White Psychology, Collective Psychotics, and Trauma in America, promoting his upcoming book of the same. The Young Americans Foundation released a montage of clips from his roughly 90-minute lecture where he appeared to disparage white people and called on others to do the same. So you can see these clips at the Young Americas Foundation website. Whites are psychopaths, King said, and their behavior represents an underlying biologically transmitted proclivity with roots deep in their evolutionary history. How many of you can see the proclivity that involved deep within our evolutionary history of whiteness? By show of hands, how many of you could see it? Some people are sitting here. Oh no, I don't want to raise my hand. That's called denial. I don't know for a fact that he is a white guy or considered a Caucasian, but the picture I saw of him online, he looked pretty damn white to me. King reiterated his point later, adding, I think whites are psychopaths. I think they have many lies to tell. The level of lying that white people do that has started since colonialism is out of control. We're used to it. His other comments included claiming that anti-blackness is the foundation of all America, all white American institutions. To his point, he remarked that raping black women is written in law. Bet y'all never knew that, did you? There's no discussion about the disillusionness of the perversion of whiteness. Say this with me. Rape culture in America is legal, economic, and moral institutions. So we're going to go with what is written in law, and that says that white people can rape black women. This is a guy speaking on college campuses, telling this to the students. But we've never been a racist country. This goes beyond gaslighting, and it's rooted in psychological delusion, King said. In another clip, he appeared to defend violent crimes. Teenagers, young people who are going out committing home invasions and hitting women over the head with objects and stealing their purses. I want you to just say, that's human nature, King said. He later summarized, I'm not seeking argument from white people at all. I don't prioritize whiteness or white people in my work in any way. Fox News Digital reached out to King for a comment, and he did not reply, nor would he. You know, there are some things that you just couldn't make up if you tried. And the sad thing about this is, if all that's not bad enough, is San Francisco University, or University of California, San Francisco, they're totally aware of what all he put out in his speech to these kids. And guess what? They're inviting him back. That's right. He's going back to the campus on March to continue to spread that white people are evil and we're all racist bigots, and that the current laws allow white men to go rape black women. And guess what? These kids believe that silly shit. The people that are in charge of that university, well, I'm not going to tell you what should happen to them, because that'll probably get me banned on YouTube and might even have law enforcement knocking on my door. But I think you can figure that out really quickly by reading between the lines. These people are evil that allow this kind of shit to happen on a college campus. More than half of Americans believe President Biden got special treatment in a special counsel investigation into his mishandling of classified documents. You think? According to the new polls, the Router poll found that 53% of Americans believe Biden got off easy because he is the president. Well, he didn't get off easy because he's the president. He got off easy because those that were doing an investigation said he's mentally unstable and couldn't answer any of the damn questions when they interviewed him. Roughly 29% of Democrats also agreed Biden got special treatment. The results come after special counsel Robert Hur chose not to recommend charges against Biden for his mishandling classified documents, in part because Biden could present himself to the jury, if it went that far, as a sympathetic, well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory. Her report went on to describe significant memory issues for Biden, saying the president could not remember even when his son Beau had died, nor could he remember when he was the vice president of the United States under Obama. Biden's age and mental capacity have long been top issue for voters. Polls have found that large majorities of Americans believe he is too old to run for office. And Tuesday's Reuters poll is no different. Roughly 78% of respondents said he is too old to serve a second term. And 71% of Democrats agreed. I repeat that, 71% of Democrats polled agreed. The poll was conducted February 9th through yesterday, February 12th. The poll used a probability-based knowledge panel to ensure respondents represented the U.S. population. The poll margin of error was 2.91. Biden and the White House have dismissed concerns about his fitness for office, as we've heard every day, several times a day. Nappy hair White House press secretary Karine Jean-Pierre stated yesterday that President's upcoming physical exam will not include a mental test. Jean-Pierre stated that Biden's physician, Dr. Kevin O'Connor, believes Biden proves his mental ability every day in how he operates and how he thinks. So I'm not sure what Biden they're watching, but for the rest of the world, we're watching a very slow train wreck from hell. And look, it's not about his age as it is as much as the fact that he has a serious mental problem. His brain is not functioning the way it used to, although he was a liar going all the way back to his days in Congress. We've seen that. You can see it all over YouTube, all the things he said that just absolutely are not true. And that just carried on to what we see today. Some people, as they get elderly, maintain a very fit mind, and they're mentally sharp, even up to 100 years old. You've seen it. We know that this happens. And others, hell, in their 60s and 70s, start losing their shit. In this case, he's in his 70s and he's not there. Okay? It's nothing against anyone with mental illness. It's just that we can't have that kind of person running our country. There's no way he would make it through another 4 years. And I don't see him making it through what's left of this year. I said this in the very beginning of his presidency, and I'll say it again. I do not see Biden making it to the November election. The Democrats themselves do not want him to run. They're trying everything in their power to get him to step aside, and just don't do it. I mean, can you imagine with his mental decline as it is right now, if when he has to debate on the public for the whole world to see, what a disaster that's going to be? I mean, it was already a disaster the last time he had to debate to become president, when he went up against Trump. Trump smoked him in the debate back then, yet everybody thought Trump was lying about all the shit that Trump said about Biden and Ukraine and about Biden's business dealings and his son. They all thought that was bullshit, and Trump made all that up. And now we know for a fact it was all true. It was all real. None of it was made up. Trump knew exactly what this guy was about. So now imagine what it's going to be like if those two end up having to debate one another, or if anybody has to debate Joe Biden. Look, I could have Sir Peanut, my Chihuahua I showed you in the beginning of the show, debate Joe Biden, and Peanut's going to win. Paws down. Every president, my friends, does some very stupid things. Yep. Throughout the history of this country, presidents have done and continue to do stupid things. Regardless if it was George Washington, Richard Nixon, Bill Clinton, Obama, or Trump, you can't fix stupid when stupid things happen. Every president does stupid shit. That being said, when a president takes money away from military veterans' health care and gives that money to illegal aliens, that, my friends, is a whole new level of stupid. President Biden is facing increased scrutiny over his administration providing healthcare administrative services to illegal immigrants, aim a worsening border crisis, causing even longer waits for American veterans utilizing Department of Veterans Affairs facilities. Biden has decided we've got to feed all 10 million people we've let come across the border. That should be he let come across the border. We've got to house them, and we've got to give them health care. So he ordered the VA to open up care from their doctors and the VA community healthcare system. All Congress-approved VA funds that are supposed to go to veterans, but now are going to be shared with these illegal immigrants that are coming across our border. The VA is already not able to provide care for all 19 million veterans living across the country, and the community system will now begin to get worse for veterans. Now, to be fair, The agreement between the VA's Financial Services Center and Immigrations and Customs Enforcement to process claims for migrant medical care is a long-standing one that actually predates the Biden administration and was outlined in a 2020 memo during former President Trump's administration. But under Trump, when an illegal migrant under ICE detention required health care, they were typically treated outside by medical professionals, and the government paid for it. However, if specialist or emergency care is required, they may be taken to an independent private provider. Now, under Biden, in such cases, ICE contracts with the VA's Financial Service Center to process reimbursements to those providers. And where is that money coming from? From the money that Congress has allotted to the VA to take care of veterans. According to a report in July of last year, ICE has hundreds of letters of understanding with the Mental Health Services Corps and Medical Corps, and they will reimburse providers at Medicare rates. That uses the VA healthcare claims processing system, a portal that allows providers to submit and view claims and access other resources. The VA told Fox News Digital that it has had an integrated agreement with IHSS since 2002 to provide processing, but also noted the department neither provides health care nor pays for it. Under the agreement, ICE pays the fees for the claims, processing services rendered, and covers distributions made to pay for claims. However, the crisis at the border, with a record number of migrants crossing into the U.S. and needing medical care, has likely worsened what one former veteran advisor told Fox News Digital was a history of backlog of medical claims, which has resulted in veterans getting bills they shouldn't be getting and having dissatisfied community care providers who are not getting paid in a timely manner. So if your veteran has to go to an outside doctor because you don't live near a VA facility, and the VA is going to pay that doctor, they're not getting paid, but the ones are for the illegal aliens. And the money's coming from the money that was supposed to be spent for the veterans. Senator Tuberville blasted the Biden administration selling a border wall materials purchased under previous administration rather than using them as a barrier to deter border crossings. And he blasted Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, who narrowly survived that impeachment last week, as a globalist who has no interest in walls or borders. We don't get a guy like President Trump in office, he said. God help us. I don't know what we're going to do. And of course, the White House told Fox News Digital that Senator Tuberville's comments were completely false. I can assure you tonight, after doing my homework on this issue, the liars are not Senator Tuberville. They are the Biden administration and this White House. Illegal aliens now get funding from the Department of Veterans Affairs to pay their medical bills. The Senate has now passed a $95 billion national security supplemental package to assist Ukraine, Israel, and the Indo-Pacific after a tenders procedure process that came to an end earlier Tuesday morning that I've already told you about of last week. The new bill's final vote was 70-29, with 22 Republicans voting yes. Democrat Senator Peter Welch and Jeff Merkley, plus Independent Senator Bernie Sanders, voted no. The supplemental package does not include any border security provisions and comes as the national debt soars above $34 trillion. I'll repeat that. The supplemental package does not include any border security provisions and comes as the national debt soars above $34 trillion. Calls to offset the spending with cuts elsewhere were unheeded. Several Republicans spent hours since the beginning of the week collectively filibustering the package on the Senate floor. Senator Mike Lee, Republican of Utah, committed to filibustering the bill for 4 hours this past Saturday and continued earlier today. The package includes $60 billion to go to Ukraine, $14 billion to go to Israel, $9 billion in humanitarian assistance for Gaza, and nearly $5 billion for the Indo-Pacific. Democrats brought the package up for a vote after Republicans had blocked the $118 billion package that also included numerous border and immigration provisions negotiated by a group of bipartisan senators and Biden officials last week on Wednesday. The Biden administration has already sent $100 billion in aid to Ukraine since the war with Russia began in February of 2022. Not to mention that Ukraine has already received over $500 billion from the other countries on planet Earth. Joe Biden said today, I applaud the bipartisan coalition of senators who came together to advance this agreement, and I urge the House to move on this with urgency. We cannot afford to wait any longer. The cost of inaction are rising every day, especially in Ukraine. Already, we're seeing reports of Ukrainian troops running out of ammunition on the front lines as Russian forces continue to attack, and Putin continues to dream of taking over Ukrainian people. There are those who say American leadership and our allies and partnerships with countries around the world do not matter. They do, he said. If we do not stand against tyrants who seek to conquer or carve up their neighbor's territory, the consequences for American national security will be significant. In a press conference this morning, Senator Majority Leader Chuck Schumer praised the package as one of the most historic bills ever to pass the upper chamber. The responsibility now falls on Speaker Mike Johnson and the House Republicans to approve this bill swiftly, he said. And I call on Speaker Johnson to rise to the occasion and do the right thing. However, a showdown between the two chambers is on the horizon. As Speaker Johnson said in a statement, the House would not pass the Senate's foreign and aid package because it does not have any provisions to secure our own border. And we have drafted our own bill with border security provisions included, he said. The mandate of national security supplemental legislation was to secure America's own border before sending additional foreign aid around the world, Johnson said. It is what the American people demand and deserve. So I'm not going to bore you with the rest of that. I'm going to skip to who's responsible for this bullshit. First, let me just give you the small print of it, all right? Speaker Johnson, when he took over, in order for him to become Speaker, the Republicans said, we need you to be a conservative, damn it. We need you to stand on conservative principles. And we need you, as the Speaker of the House, if we put you in this position, to never send another fucking dime to any of these other countries to secure their border and protect them until we can do the same thing for America. We put America first. And as long as we're included, America, then we can share the wealth with other countries. That was the deal to get him in there. So he made it very clear. Until we can secure our own border, and money's going to go to that too, Ukraine doesn't get another fucking dime. The bill comes out last week. It had so many hidden things in it that were not really going to secure our border and allow Biden, right after he signed it, to then turn around and throw it in a trash can and not live up to the agreement, that they turned it down. Then the Senate goes and pulls this stunt today and puts out a bill that doesn't even include our border. Now, I don't know how much stupider one can get, but they already knew what Speaker Johnson said. The writing was on the wall. In order to pass, money to go billions to Ukraine, you're gonna spend money to secure our southern border and stop what's happening, the travesty that's happening to this country. And sadly, Republicans sided with the Biden administration today. Republican Senator Jerry Moran of Kansas became emotional in a floor speech in support of the bill. I believe in America first, but unfortunately, America first means we have to engage in the world first. No, sir, it does not. And the House has made it beyond clear from the start. Close and protect our border, or Ukraine gets no more money from taxpayers. Secure our border, which part of this don't you idiots understand. The following Republicans in the Senate voted yes to give this bill the power it needs in their minds to move forward and give Ukraine money for their borders, but not ours. John Bozeman, Shelley Moore Kepto, Bill Cassidy, Susan Collins, John Connie, Kevin Kramer, Mike Capo, Joni Ernest, Chuck Grassley, John Hoeven, John Kennedy, which surprised the shit out of me, Mitch McConnell, Jerry Morgan, Lisa Murkowski, James Rich, Mitt Romney, Mike Rounds, Dan Sullivan, John Throen, Tom Tillis, Roger Wicker, and Todd Young. Democrats brought the package up for a vote after Republicans, as I told you, blocked the $118 billion package already, saying that, look, it's pretty simple. It's going to include our border or you're not getting a freaking dime. And here's a small print. Any member of the United States House, Senate, or this current administration who is not willing to allow our taxpayer money to close our overwhelmed border before giving our money to other countries for their border has the blood on their hands of every American that has been killed by the millions of pounds of fentanyl coming across our border, been killed by MS-13 gang members, been killed by illegal aliens in any way, shape, or form. These are people that become angel families. And they are okay. These members are okay with the massive amount of women and children being sold into sex slavery and trafficked across our border. How sad, how pathetic, how un-American these Republicans are. I get it. Democrats don't give a shit about our border. We've known that many, many years. But to see these Senate Republicans vote with the Democrats to pass a bill that doesn't even have any money in it for our border, you know what to do come November, folks, right? Vote those son of a bitches out of office. Columnist Liz Peek wrote the following column yesterday. I wanted to share with you all tonight. Said former President Donald Trump can ride Special Counsel Robert Hur's report on Joe Biden's diminishing brain all the way to the White House if he does three things. Number one, leans into voters' concerns about the disastrous border crisis and tells them how he's going to fix it. Number 2, talks up his plan to keep the economy humming through deregulation, keeping taxes low, and also pushing his drill baby drill plan to expand America's energy stockpile and independence. And number 3, shuts up about everything else. Don't feed Democrat narratives with threats to abandon NATO or impose 60% tariffs on China. Stop talking about the 2020 election. Stop attacking his rival and former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley's husband and his wardrobe, and lay off of President Joe Biden. The president is destroying his own reelection hopes all by himself. He doesn't need Trump's help. Also, talk less about what a great job you did before and more about what you're going to do this time if elected. Voters want to know, and they want optimism. There's been a lot of chatter about what Joe Biden should do to confront the terrible blow delivered by Special Counsel Hur. There's been less commentary about how the presumed GOP nominee should navigate this gift from the blue. My view, don't interrupt Biden's decline and fall from grace. Odds makers have Donald Trump in the lead, with one site giving him a 52% chance of winning in November, against 27% for Biden. Shockingly, Michelle Obama is next most likely to become president with a 15% chance. That says everything you need to know. Democrats are in disarray, with many turning on their standard bearer of letting them down. But really, it is the Democrats' universe, the leadership, Dem donors in Hollywood and Silicon Valley, White House aides, the liberal media, Jill Biden, and the whole dishonest crew that has nurtured this cancer in its midst. They knew the president was in decline before, having lied repeatedly about his vigor and his sharpness, even to themselves, and conspired to hide it from the public. If you receive your news from MSNBC, you might have no idea that Joe Biden can barely finish a sentence without stumbling. You don't know that the White House has been shielding his decline by limiting his interaction with the press, using more easily managed stares to deplane, and stage managing his appearances to prevent him looking befuddled and lost. On social media, clips of Biden deterioration are everywhere. His muscles are no longer gaffes. His miscues are no longer gaffes. Believing you just sat down with France's former president who died in 1996 is senile, mixing up the channels. Reliable lefties like Ross Dalton of the New York Times are openly calling for Biden to step aside at the convention, allowing delegates to choose another candidate. And if Biden doesn't step aside, I think that's exactly what they're going to do. They don't have a choice. They have to. All right? They have to. Joe Biden isn't going to make it to the election. Trust me. Dordown, also at the awkward picnic Times, said Biden's denial of his inflammatories isn't going to beat Trump, but she fails to prove a better plan. Trump can capitalize on Biden's slide, but he must not steeping in the middle of the story, such as he recently did when he recalled telling NATO members that if they didn't pay their share of the alliance defense budget, he would not protect them from Russian aggression. That, of course, made headlines of just the sort that Democrats savor by saying that Trump is reckless. Trump cannot be trusted, they said. Trump must keep the spotlight on the president's age and on the honors or the horrors that Biden is committing. The millions of illegals swarming across our border, the cell phone crime approach of this White House, the resulting mayhem in places like Chicago and New York, and hugely inflated prices of everything in our stores. These issues are shipping voters into the R column. They remember these problems didn't exist under Donald Trump. Meanwhile, wars in Ukraine, and the Middle East demolished Biden's absurd claims of democratic know-how. Rather, those conflicts showcase the extreme cost of the world of a weak man sitting in the Oval Office. Biden touts his experience. With good as experience if you can't remember what the hell you're supposed to be doing. Donald Trump is not a weak man. He is powerful as a speaker and as a leader, ready to use the might of the U.S. presidency to close our borders. He has done it before and can do it again. Joe Biden has the same tools at his disposal, but refuses to take them out of the toolbox. And because he doesn't know where the toolbox is, he lost his toolbox. So I get what she's saying. There is no reason for Donald Trump to go outside the box on this, not this close to November. Stick with the things that are really going to matter. Energy independence, closing our border, national security, supporting law enforcement and veterans and our military, making it stronger. Just stay on those topics. And Joe Biden will self-implode as he's doing, and we see it happening right now in front of our face, all on his own. Trump doesn't need to say anything that's going to give the Democrats any talking points. As long as he stays focused on what really matters, he can't lose. He just can't. Well, Woody Allen once said that 80% of success is showing up. Former President Donald Trump proved last week that the same could be said about just sticking around. Trump had one of the best weeks as cases and critics seemed to implode. From the disqualification efforts in Washington to the scandal in Georgia. Yet Trump is not out of the woods and is facing significant threats in what is becoming a war of attrition. In Washington, the Supreme Court gave a chilling reception to the disqualification efforts that bordered on the glacier. While law professors like Harvard's Laurel Tribe insisted that the basis of barring Trump from office under the 14th Amendment was unseeable, the justices seem utterly unconvinced, and there is now the possibility that the entire effort could now be defeated unanimously, and it better be. Even liberal Justice Brown Jackson appeared to imply that the effort was anti-democratic. The case against Trump in Georgia is floundering. His allegations mount against Fulton County District Attorney Anna Fannie Wills over her illegitimate intimate relationship with her subordinate special prosecutor, Nathan J. Wade. This week, a court's filing alleged that Willis and Wade filed false claims in court on their relationship began. The two prosecutors have insisted that they only became intimate after Willis hired Wade. Wade's former lawyer has reportedly come forward to contest that claim. That allegation, if true, could make the continuation of Willis and Wade case basically untenable and just thrown out of court. Various defendants being prosecuted in Georgia are accused of false statements and filings in court. Of course, the removal of Willis and Wade will not necessarily end the case, but it will present logistical and optical problems for the office. You bet it will. There are also calls for the removal of Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, who is accused of being lax on crime overall, despite his determination effort to convict Trump. He doesn't care about the crime in New York. Let them run rampant and do whatever the fuck they want, as long as he gets Trump. Trump has a curious fortune in critics who seem over time to combust in rather spectacular fashion. Michael Cohen, his former lawyer, went to jail and lost his law license. At the Justice Department, Various FBI officials from the Russian investigation were accused of wrongdoing and forced out of the Department of Justice. That included James Comey, who was found to have been removed FBI material after Trump fired him and giving it to a friend who leaked it to the press. Another justice official pleaded guilty to criminal conduct associated with the Russian investigation. In politics, former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, who attacked Trump for his treatment of women, was forced out of office for sexual harassment himself. Michael Avenatti was sentenced to a long prison term for fraud and other crimes. Senator Robert Menendez, a Democrat in New Jersey who voted for Trump to be convicted in the Senate, is now under indictment for corruption. Even in the arts, Trump critics have fallen from great heights. Comedian Kathy Griffin has not become a personal non grata after her glory depiction of a beheaded Trump is now featuring people, and they're no longer buying her tickets or going to a tour. Alec Baldwin, who scathingly played Trump, has been criminally charged after shooting a movie crew member. Of course, it is fair to note that some of Trump's allies have fared equally badly, including those convicted of facing trials, such as Paul Manafort, Michael Flynn, Roger Stone, Rudy Giuliani, Sidney Powell, and others. Yet there is no question that time has worked in Trump's favor in fulfilling certain narratives. He has accused the Democrats of trying to rig elections while debunking claims in 2020. Democrats like Colorado Secretary of State Gina Griswold bulldozed any high ground by trying to prevent citizens from voting for Trump as he leads in the polls. Likewise, Trump has long mocked President Biden over his age and mental deterioration. And of course, then there's the Robert Hur report that came out. So in general, let's just face it, things are going in Trump's favor right now. Knock on wood. Let's hope that continues. And it's becoming more and more difficult for those that are trying to take him down to do just that. At the rate things are going right now, all this is subject to change. I predict Donald Trump will be the person that goes up against whoever the Democrat's going to be for the November election. And I predict it will not be Joe Biden. The Democrats themselves know that it's not going to happen. How they're going to get him out, I don't know. They're going to come out with 45th Amendment, or what they're going to do, I'm clueless as to what their plan is. But I do know that enough Democrats in Washington, D.C. see the writing on the wall that if they want to have any chance of a Democrat being in office at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue come November, they're going to have to find somebody to replace Joe Biden with. I mean, that's facts, folks. That's how it is. I've reported, sadly, because I'm an Army veteran, a lot of the things that the Army has been doing that's just sad. It's pathetic. It's there. A lot of the powers that be are destroying the once great United States Army. United States Army Lieutenant Colonel Nathan E. Showman, who is the Ranger School commander, has been suspended because of investigation into his conduct over online dating. He was suspended on January 26 from his position as commander of the 5th Ranger Training Battalion in Georgia. The suspension was first reported by Army Times. The investigation is related to Lieutenant Colonel Showman's use of a dating profile and consensual relationships. The investigation is in no way accusing Lieutenant Colonel Showman of sexual harassment or any similar related allegations or relationships with his subordinates. Robert Capelville with the Capelville and Williams law firm told military.com. They're who are representing him. Rather, it appears the Army is attacking a single heterosexual man and his desire to have a dating profile and to have consensual dating relationships with an adult. So, today's woke Army is okay with soldiers dressing up in drag, performing on base at the NCO club and the officers club. Female soldiers can have an OnlyFans account, pose for Playboy, and parade around half naked on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. LGBTQ soldiers can do anything they want, on or off base, and any soldier can have a dating profile if they would like, regardless of their sexual orientation, male, female, doesn't matter, but not a straight white soldier if he is a commanding officer. This is bullshit. The Army knows this is bullshit. Yet they are going out of their way to destroy a once great institution. They're making it to where people like me that served honorably and proud in the United States Army are ashamed that we ever did. Now, I want to share something with you folks. Have y'all heard of the book that's out? If I can get through this without laughing. Here, let me show it to you. There it is. In My Daddy's Belly, the story of a transgender dad giving birth, written by Logan Brown. Look at him. There's his book. Wow. So let's talk about this now. Inspired by the author's real family, this heartwarming story about two dads eagerly awaiting the birth of their first child follows the excitement and joy of welcoming a new baby into a loving family. The person giving birth just happens to be one of the dads. Written in a way that is accessible to children of all ages and easy to understand, it gives some basic facts about transgender dads giving birth and celebrates new life with colorful, bold illustrations of a wholesome story with the message, it doesn't matter what your family looks like as long as you are safe and loved. Okay, let's try this one more time. Boys and girls, if somebody shows you this book, spit on them. Men can't have babies. The man or person claiming to be a man in the two-daddy relationship isn't a man. He was born a biological woman, but he identifies as a man. He still has the parts that are needed to produce a baby. Daddies can't have babies. Even if they could, where's it going to come out of? Their ass? It is sickening what the left is doing. And the fact that they're gearing this book to children makes it worse. If anything, the person who wrote this book ought to be in a padded room. That's my personal belief. Now, I want to share something with you. If you read my community section, you've already heard this. This is an actual email that I received. And if you have pets and you buy things from Bark, B-A-R-K, which is a company that sells pet supplies, you probably got this email too. Another thing that's going to be hard to read. The subject in this email was an apology. We didn't know what 69 meant. Dear Douglas, on Saturday, we sent an email, see below, to our subscribers, encouraging them to $69 with a friend. To us, it was a simple way to give and receive. If they refer a pal to Bark, they both get $69 of Bark shop credit. We have since learned the email, particularly the $69 part, offended some, and for that, we apologize. In order to remedy this, we're rounding up from 69 to a completely inoffensive $70 of Bark shop credit and making this available to prospective people like yourself. Of course, if you prefer $69, we will not stop or judge you. No matter the amount, you deserve to spoil your dog with our shop's best-selling toys, gifts, home essentials, and more. To clarify, $69 was a random number that our strategic team landed on. However, this is the funniest fucking thing. However, after seeing the distress the email caused, I Googled 69 and immediately realized this number has other meanings. As an aid, yeah. If you search 69 online, I suggest you do so by yourself without children around. Unfortunately, I use my work laptop and now have to take HR seminars that I designed because I inadvertently violated Bark's HR policy that I created. I'm sorry. Not to mention, I'm now getting served all sorts of ads, and Bark has an open office plan. Once again, our apologies for any misunderstanding. Our aim is to satisfy our customers and celebrate whatever they may or may not be into. Now, obviously, they did that as a marketing ploy and as a joke, all right? But when I first got that email and started reading that, I was like, then I tried to read it to my wife, and I couldn't get through it. It took forever for me to finally read that, how crazy it sounded. But anyhow, all fun and games there. I'm pretty damn positive it was meant to be a joke, but it sure as hell, it worked. Okay, it was funny. So hats off to Bark for pulling that one off. Folks, you had many places to be tonight, chose to be here with me. Thank you very much. I'm sorry the beginning of this show started off all screwed up. I don't know why all of a sudden the clips for the opening of the show didn't play. I have to do some research on that and see if I can figure that out. Something to do with StreamYard, obviously. It's always something. You never know when you're doing a live show what's going to pull off great and what isn't. But anyhow, in the description of this video and all my videos and all my shows, you'll see the other place you can follow me on social media. Please follow me. I'll follow you back. That's how this works. Subscribe to the channel. Share it with your family and friends. Tell everybody about the Douglas Ducote Show. And let's continue to build this program, build this audience, get the word out there. Make sure you tell them I'm not politically correct. And if they're offended by a bad word or two, then I'm not the guy they need to be watching. But other than that, I'm pretty much spot on. And if I manage to get it wrong, I'll be the first person to tell you that I got it wrong and apologize and correct it. But that doesn't happen too often because I do a lot of extensive research on everything I plan to talk about. In fact, I do more work getting ready to do this show on the days in between the show than probably anybody else out there in social media. My wife can testify that I am digging deep to try and get these stories to make damn sure when I come on the air, I'm telling you something that's you can take to the bank, folks, as being true 100%. Anyhow, please say a prayer for our men and women serving the United States military, our veterans, our law enforcement officers, our first responders and their families, our angel families, our blue and gold star families, and our country. May God bless the United States of America. May God bless each and every one of you. Happy Mardi Gras. Today is Fat Tuesday. And I'll see you back right here on Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central for another live broadcast. Thank you. Take care. And I'll be seeing you soon.